Welcome back. We are going to try to finish up this flyer about ourselves. And so what we're going to do now is insert in a table. So I'm going to get a couple below this. And what I want to do is go to my insert ribbon again. And I'm going to go to insert, and then I'm going to find table, which is right below the insert. And I'm going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to make this 8 columns and just 1 row. So we're going to make this an 8 by 1. So choose 8 by 1. And then what we're going to need to do is pull this table quite a bit taller. So I'm just going to put my cursor down here where you see it. And I'm going to pull this a little bit taller, and what has happened here is that it just went on the next page, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to go in and change my margins. So I'm going to go to page layout and margins and custom margins. I want to have a bigger bottom margin, so my bottom margin I'm going to change to 0.3, and that should work pretty good. So I'll say OK. And now my table comes back up onto that first page, which is good. And what I want to do at this point is put my name in here. And I want my text to be in a different direction. So I'm going to block everything in the table. And then once I get up here and I'm inside the table, Microsoft Word will give me what I'm asking for at the time, so some tools to be able to work on my table. And I'll click on Layout, and one of the options of Layout is Text Direction. So I want to put my text in a different direction here. So I'm going to spin this until the text is in the direction up here that I would like it to appear in on my table. And then I also would like the words on my table to be centered in the middle. So I'm going to, right next to this, choose the Align Center button. Once I've done that, I'm going to type in my name. And my name wrapped, and so what is happening here is that my document's a little bit bigger than I'd like it to be. I haven't quite gotten my document to a size where this is all going to fit on a page. So I'm going to go up here, and you're just going to have to be aware that you need to adjust your document quite a bit. And I'm going to adjust my picture to a different size. And then I'm going to hit some deletes on some of my hard returns and bring up my document a bit so that I've got more room on my page that I can make my table bigger. So now that I've adjusted the size of my document, I'm going to pull my table a little longer. And keep in mind, if you look at the left-hand side of the page over here, you're going to see that we've got a ruler. And I can see that's where my bottom margin is right at the end of the white and the gray. So I'm just going to pull this table so that it's about the same size. It ends at about where my bottom margin ends. So now I've got more room, and this is more like how I want it to be. So once I've got my name on there, and my name right now is at 22 point, that's a little big for this table. So I'm going to point to the top of my table, and I get this little black arrow, and I'm going to highlight my table, and then I'm going to go up to my font size and get my name a little bit smaller. Maybe I want to do, I don't know, 18 or 20. I'll adjust it as I go on. I'll start with 18 right now. So my whole table font size has changed to 18 point. Then I'm just going to hit enter, and I'm going to get my phone number in here. Now you can, if you want to on this, you can use a fake phone number, use your real phone number. It doesn't matter to me. Also, when you do put in where you live, if you would rather live somewhere more exciting than Farwell or Mount Pleasant or Lake George, put in where you'd like to live. So go ahead and put Florida or whatever you want. So here comes my phone number. And again, you guys, if you want to just use a fake phone number, that's fine with me. Now, I don't have a desire to do any more work than what I have to, so I'm going to just block my name and my phone number, and I'm going to right mouse on it, and I'm going to hit copy, and then I'll click in all these other boxes and just paste. No use typing it when you can be efficient and paste. So I'm pasting away. And then I'm going to decide that I want to make some changes to this text box. So one thing that I want you to know, your text box probably appeared on here centered, but be aware that if it didn't, you can be using table tools. You can go into the layout part of table tools and then find properties, and we're going to choose to center that table left and right on the page. So it's going to be centered horizontally left and right. So choose center, and then you can say OK. Now my table's not going to adjust much, but if it was a little bit off-centered or cockeyed, it would adjust. So make sure you know that the table properties is there in the layout tab of the table tools. So it's table tools, layout, and then properties to get to the table properties. Now I'm going to say OK. Not much is going to happen, but now it will be centered. My next step, though, is that I don't want the lines on my table to be like this. So again, I'm going to point to the table till I get this black arrow. And I'm going to select the whole table. I'm going to go up to my home ribbon now. And I want to tell the computer on the home ribbon, I'm on the paragraph portion of the home ribbon, that I want this table to have no borders. So I'm going to choose no border. And then what you're going to find is that you can't even see that there is a table on here. So you might want to go back into your table tools, and on the layout tab, one of the things that you can choose is the view grid lines. When I do put on the grid lines, you can see that down here a table did appear. So this view grid lines is a toggle. I click off it, it's off. I click on it, it's on. And I want to see that, you know, where my table is. So I'm going to leave this view grid lines, which is part of the table tools, the layout tab. I'm going to leave that on. So it is a toggle on and off. There, it's on. Okay, I'm going to click off of that. And now I want to tell the computer that I would like to draw some lines on this table. And there's a different way to do this, but this is a pretty comfortable way if you do it this way. I'm going to go back to the home ribbon, and I'm going to go to my border button, which is part of this paragraph portion of the home ribbon. I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to go to borders and shading. Then I'm going to choose a dotted line. Let's choose something that I think I like, maybe that one. And I'm going to say none right here. And when I say none, absolutely nothing's going to happen. So I say none, and I say OK. But then when I go back and I click into my table, I can then turn my borders on. So I can say left border, and then click on that again and say right border, and then pop in back to the table to the second column and say right border. Then click into the third column, click on right border again, and then the fourth column, right border again, fifth column, right border. So you get the idea. All right, so now that I've got that, I would like to make sure that my document is taking up the whole screen, the whole page. So I'm going to click down on this, and we can see that my document is filling up the whole page nicely, which I would like yours to do. But probably down here where I'm kind of bouncing around with my cursor, I can make this a little bit further down, especially if I click on this hard return and make it quite teeny weeny. So I'm going to make a 3-point hard return up here and hit enter. And then this, I'm going to click on this one that was down here, and I'm going to make that 3.2. And now what that is going to do is allow me, I'm going to really zoom in on this so you guys can see this, but I've got this little teeny weeny hard return there, and I'm going to hit enter on this until my table is almost at the end of the page. And see, I keep hitting enter, and it blinks off, so then I'll hit backspace and it's back on. And I want to make sure that if somebody wants to try to tear these little tabs off like they would for a flyer that you're going to make, that they can, that this is down to the bottom of the page here enough that someone can easily tear those off. But now that I've done that, I want to view this with the whole document and see, does that look proportional? Do I have about as much space after Mount Pleasant as I have down here between reading and the table? And right now I think I do need to adjust that a tad. So I'll take out a couple of those. Might as well make that teeny weeny too. I'll just make it 8 point. And I'll kind of move that down and adjust around so we've got equal space here with a teeny weeny hard returns. I don't have a hard return hit so that this is taking up 2 pages, so make sure this is all just on 1. Don't hit an additional hard return so that you just get another page here, because then it will print out 2 pages. So make sure that when you've got this shrunken down over here, that you are not creating more pages than what you need. And once your flyer looks proportional, then you're done. You can print this out. When I not print it, you're going to just show it to me when I return. So that is the end of part 2. Thank you.